I still remember 5 years ago when Kristi and I started working together, and I had this mission. I had to have 10,000 followers. I wanted 10,000 followers on Instagram so bad. And Kristi was just looking at me like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I haven't gone viral yet. And then I had a couple viral videos and it was like, whatever. But did it translate to business? It didn't. Today, we're going to talk all about you do not need to go viral to have a really successful business. Let's dive in.
You're listening to the Girl Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast, where we invite you to check your ego at the app, grab a cup of coffee, and get ready to dive into all things real estate marketing, social media, friendship, hardship, love, money mindset, and all the things that celebrate you as a badass boss babe.
We're here to encourage you, show up for you, give you a loving kick in the pants when you need it most, and be your soft place to land on the hardest of days. So pull up a seat at our table and get ready to be inspired and start living your best life by design.
Welcome to the Girl Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast. We are so excited you're here.
Okay, girls, let's dive in. All right, when Kristi and I started working together, this goes back like 5 years now. My desire to go viral was insane. Do you remember that?
Oh, I do, Beth.
And you're just like, Beth, basically the summary of our conversations was like, get it through your thick head. Going viral isn't the goal. Getting the phone to ring is the goal. And I'm like, no, viral is the goal. And you're like, you are missing the point. And I'm like, no. And it finally, it took like 4.5 years to finally sink in.
That's a good way to summarize that quickly.
Right? But I don't need 10,000 followers. I still have it in my head that I would love that.
You probably always will have it in your head. And eventually you'll have it.
Maybe. But when the phone just rings and it's like the most awesome person like that I adore and they're calling me and saying, hey, come list my house. Come list me calls are the holy grail of real estate. Right?
Yeah. So is anyone else exhausted by this idea that you have to go viral, have a gazillion likes or anything like that? Or you have to do that trend or follow that thing?
I think new agents are still on the bandwagon that's how they're going to build a business.
Okay.
And it's not to say that can't happen. But
I don't think it's nearly your most effective strategy.
Absolutely not. So that's why we're diving in. Will it
help? Sure, it could help. If you're skipping all the rest of it, it's just a complete waste of your time. So today we're going to dive into why you don't need to go viral to be successful and win. And my goal of this episode is that hopefully it feels refreshing.
Yes.
And hopefully it allows you to release and let go of some things and to really focus on what brings a paycheck in.
Yeah. I think for me, it was a mental shift of what does that win really look like?
Mm-hmm. We've talked about what does success look like for you. I just did a recent episode on quiet wins and what that looks like.
Yeah. If you want to hear more about that, head to episode 217. Kristi talks about quiet wins. You always think having a viral go video or a video go viral is going to be the thing that seals your business. But is it really?
Well,
or is that just noise?
Yeah, and long-term success and what happens there. And I think the reality is we all want to be liked as human beings. It's nature. Mm-hmm. Before social media, we wanted to be liked. Before you actually clicked you wanted people to like you, right? So this desire is innately in us. We can't change it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And to post something and then to see the is that gratification. It's that reward instantly, right? Mm-hmm. So it makes sense that we're wired for this. But when you really redefine that and what that looks like, that might shift for you, right? It just might shift for you a little bit, and that's okay.
I think as realtors, there's so many realtors that really want to be influencers, and so many of them, the secret is that as a real estate agent, I can look up anybody's production. I can look up somebody's production, and every once in a while, just to humor myself, I do. And you're like, okay, well, that agent is coming across as an influencer on social media. And then you look it up and they sold 7 houses last year. Well, how much do you truly know about the business if you've only sold 7 houses? You're not in the trenches enough. So I think there's this huge misconception that being an influencer is going to equate to success, but that's just not the case.
It's really interesting how long this has hung on. like
way
a really long
longer
time
than what you would think.
And I would say a few years ago, it probably helped you a little more than it helps you now, which like that ship has kind of sailed, sort of thing. And I think another question to ask yourself is, do you really want to be an influencer and all that comes with that? Or do you want to serve your clients in a different way maybe? I'm not saying like it has to have social presence, right? Of course we need to have that. It's necessary right now. Like a business needs that to be successful, especially a real estate business. But that is just, it's one of those things where this idea of it, and it was easier to go viral before too. So like you're not seeing as many likes, you're not getting that reach. Like go look at the people you followed forever and ever that have a very large following. They're not getting even close to the reach they did before. So like that's okay. So like giving yourself that permission too is okay. And when you are putting posts out there and not getting the conversion that you want on the back end, even if you're getting it on the front end, it doesn't actually matter. It doesn't actually do anything but cost you time. And, you know, social lives for such a short amount of time that you're not making enough money by doing that to support yourself. So then what's the point, right? Why is your energy getting wasted in those areas? And why are we worrying about this so much when we could put that energy other places that actually give us a paycheck without burning out?
Oh my gosh, the burnout is legit. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm an influencer by any stretch of anyone's imagination, but there are just times where like, I'm like, Kristi, I just am like wiped out. Like posting on social just feels hard. There's times where it just feels hard and you're like, I just need a little break. And it's fun to see other people be like, yep, I took like a month-long social media break. And it's like, there were a couple times this summer where like you and I were really intentional and you're like, you can take a week off of social media and the sky is not going to fall. I'm like, are you sure?
I was like, you're fine. You're just fine.
And I'd be
you're
like,
going to be fine.
Wow. That felt so good. It was like that little pause that I needed. I'm like, I can just catch my breath and not be like, oh shit, I forgot to post on social. And I'm not, Kristi's like, stay consistent with your post times. And I'm like, oh my God, it feels like so much. And so taking those few little breaks that we did this summer, I'm like, it's what I needed. Thank you.
Seriously, we've taken it a little too seriously. I think we've taken it too seriously. So can we just talk about something that, goodness, I have been seeing this since I was a wedding photographer. So ever many years ago that was, but quiet scrolling. And so many of us, like I'm going to just say all of us, because we all do it, are quietly scrolling other brands and like seeing what they're doing, and you're still seeing it even though you're not liking, you're not commenting, that kind of thing. So have you ever had a client call you and say they saw something that you did, or like mention something on social media, or mention something in an email, or just some other presence that you have in the online world, but yet they never comment or like anything? I remember in the wedding days, having clients come up to me, really, really great clients, saying like, I don't like things and I don't like comment on things, but I see this. And it's really stuck with me because that is what's happening. How many times do you scroll past something and you don't like it and you don't comment, but you remember it, right? Because we have that visual cue. So really focusing on the content and the information that you're providing and who it's serving, how it's building your brand even more, how it's connecting with someone, and then paying attention to who's talking about this on the back end, regardless of what's happening on the front end of like what they can see. That's really what you need to hang on to. And that's really what you need to pay attention to, which can be really hard when we want that forward validation that we all love, right? Because it feels good to be liked outwardly.
You and I have talked about this so much where you're like, funny, we've been talking about X or Y on social for a while, and all of a sudden, so-and-so is like ripping off exactly what we're talking about.
I mean, we've had podcast episodes basically ripped off, but like, whatever. Yeah. Rip off and duplicate, that's totally fine.
But like, it's like people are paying attention.
They're paying attention.
Even if they're not, like, just like you said, they might not like or comment on a damn thing that you put out there, and you're like, nobody's reading it, nobody's looking at it. And then all of a sudden they're ripping it off and putting it in their social. I'm like, awesome.
Yeah,
great.
Awesome.
We're educating, we're providing value.
When you think about, like, ask yourself, how many times do you see something and you do nothing? right?
We all do it.
We all do it. So they're doing that to you, and you're still building a brand. So making sure that is still your information is going out there. You're still serving, like you're still reaching your ideal client and speaking to them in a way that makes sense for them and for you. Like that's your connection. It can be quiet. And I think like the permission for that to happen is really important. Now, if you're putting stuff out there and no one's doing anything and they're not saying anything, okay, maybe revisit if that's making sense for you. But if you're seeing the conversion on the back end, you do you. Like keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. It's weird, like when you're doing all the things and you might not be getting that validation, but like you're at an event and someone walks up to you and says, oh my gosh, I love your podcast so much. Yeah. And holy cow, like XYZ episode just like hit home, like right where I needed to hear. And I'm like, oh, doing all the hard things. It's actually paying off. Cause like every once in a while you're just like, why are we doing this? This feels hard. And like some days it feels super easy and other days it feels hard. But then someone comes up and says something like that and you're like, okay, this is why we're doing this. This is totally why we're doing this.
Seriously, it is. It's so cool to build this community. I just had this conversation with you, Beth, where like when I'm like called out as far as like being part of this in a group setting, I'm like freeze. I'm like, oh my God, that's right. Wait, you recognize my voice? What? Oh my gosh, is this really happening? Because Beth,
it happened at one of our events, Galentine's last year. Someone like flipped around and they're like, oh, I know your voice. I maybe didn't know what you look like, but they're like, I recognize your voice immediately because I listen to the podcast all the time. And then Kristi's like, oh my God, that's so weird.
And so I love having like those interactions with others and stuff, but in a group setting, I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like panicking. Like it's like, I don't know what to do here. But so the reality is, and what we're getting at is people are, we're connecting with each other. And if we're doing it correctly, you don't need the likes, you don't need the comments. Of course they help. I'm not going to lie and say it like doesn't help your reach or your algorithm and all that. Of course it does. But don't get so fixated on it that is preventing you from continuing to do it. It's stopping you from that execution. It's stopping you from that consistency, because really just keeping up with it is so important.
Like, are you having conversations? You might not be having those conversations online, and you might not be getting like maybe quite the engagement that you're hoping for, but like in real life, are people like coming up to you and like having conversation, being like, I heard you talk about like interest rates coming down. Like what specifically could that look like for my situation? Like that happens to me all the time where I'm like, oh, this is falling on deaf ears. And then I see someone in person and then they start having a conversation. I don't even have to be salesy and gross. I don't even bring it up. They bring it up and they're like, I saw you post about blah, blah, blah. Like, tell me more about that. And I'm like, oh, sure, I would love to. And then just organically having a conversation that somebody else brought up. And then I can come from a point of like a place of like contribution and educate, which is what I love to do. And it doesn't feel gross. And someone is actually interested in like learning more about whatever topic they have interest in. It's like, oh my God, it's working.
That's where the come list me calls come from too, right? You've built, and not just from social media by any means, but like you built, and then the come list me calls come, which is what everyone wants, right? Yeah. And you know, also to mention too, like emails, right? We get quite a bit of response on the emails that we send.
And the open rate is huge.
Our open rate is very successful. I feel super proud of it. It's a really good open rate.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And our engagement is really good with it. So like thinking about that too, like, who's responding? Like, where am I getting the response? Or if someone brings up something that you've talked about via email, same sort of thing. Like, great, like this is making sense. Let me keep doing what I'm doing. Or like, how can I serve this particular person better? And it really has nothing to do with if I have 10 likes on a post or 500. It just has nothing to do with it.
It's hard not to get sucked into that though.
It is. I find it exhausting. I'm not going to lie.
It is.
If you want to just, you're like, I hate social media, I want to get off. Maybe just like rethink of like how you're viewing it and that kind of thing.
Like you and I have talked about this a lot. You're like, was it just that one thing that you said, or was it the 50 other reels that you put out that laid the groundwork of like educating and contributing and just like being the knowledge expert that you are?
Yeah. Like chances are someone's not going to trust you from one viral piece. So like if you haven't built that like trust factor, like cool, engagement awesome, like views awesome, but really it's everything else. It's everything working together. And we do talk about this all the time. Like it's not just you being out there day to day. It's not just us having this podcast. It's not just, us sending an email. It's not just us posting on social media. It is everything combined in how we show up as humans and how we show up in our business that build our brand that then connects with people. So we can't just rely on one thing. We can't just take the metrics from that one thing. It has to be that combination of everything, which can feel super hard when it's not tangible and you can't put your finger on just one thing. It can be honestly kind of frustrating, but if they're all working together and you're seeing the results, that's really what matters.
I think something that is really important is that staying consistent and doing all the things on all the channels, which like you said, just it could feel overwhelming. Maybe if you're not using the right strategy, but you have to constantly nurture your database. Mm-hmm. I sat in on a conference a couple of years ago and just sort of had a light bulb moment. And it was Kyle Whistle, and he was up on stage and he said, paying for an online lead, whether that's Zillow or paying another realtor, a referral fee to get a client, the first time you do business with that client is going to be the most expensive time ever. You're going to make the least amount of money on that first transaction. But if you're constantly serving and educating and coming from contribution, the whole goal is that it should be one of those things that you love working with that client so much and you're just nurturing that client. That's the sweet spot where that client comes back and comes back and comes back. I had one online lead when I first got back into the business, over 10 years ago. Their family has bought and sold 12 homes with me. And now they've become pseudo family. We get invited to the Christmas. I got invited to Grandpa's 90th birthday party. Doing it right and building that relationship, and now working with them is a dream. But how many more clients am I doing that with? A lot. When I'm looking at my database, I'm wow, I feel I had more clients than this. I'm well, no, this family I've sold 12 houses to, this family I've sold 7 houses to. And then your fingers within the family just keeps going deeper because you're well, I met grandpa and grandma, I met mom and dad, I met their aunt and uncle, I met their kids, and now the grandkids. It's that's what it's all about, is building that relationship.
Yeah. And the reality is online leads are very expensive if you aren't doing that nurturing for the rest of all time, basically. Yeah. For the rest of the time you're in business, right? You're not nurturing that same client. It is way too expensive to get an online lead. It's
and
not
everybody
worth it.
else is nurturing them too.
Yep, exactly. So really laying that foundation. So your phone rings. Actually, your phone rings.
With people that you love to hear from.
That you love to hear from. You get an email. You get a text message. You've laid all that foundation. So the phone just rings and they come. And something else too, to know that when you walk into an appointment with them, they're going to work with you.
It's feels the best.
It feels the best. And even if it's a referral and you're they're most likely going to work with me, can you get that to 80-90% that they're going to work with you?
Yeah.
What a win. It's such a better feeling than going in oh my God, I have to try to work this so hard from nothing. That's such a better place to be. So really getting that consistency and that laying that foundation so that is your reality is completely possible. And that really has not that much to do with comments or likes.
No. I'm working with some buyers right now. They're first-time home buyers with a pretty slim budget, and they're the best, and they're a referral from my mortgage days, someone who was a mortgage client. Referred a client. I sold her house 10 years later, I sold her house again. She referred niece and nephew referred their besties. People are why are you still working with first-time home buyers? Because they're awesome. Because they're referral from referral.
Yeah.
This is
maybe check your ego a little bit.
It just fills your cup.
Yeah, totally.
That someone thought that I did a great enough job to come back and then refer their friends, and we're 2 layers deep now.
Greatest compliment in this business, for sure.
The best.
And I think there's something to be said about sticking with the plan. Right? Sometimes it can feel boring because you're being consistent, but stick with your plan, be consistent, build your brand, grow your brand. And the work is going to keep coming to you. And you might get bored, sure, try something a little bit different here and there, but really staying consistent and kind of being boring sometimes is okay. You're allowing people to get to know you, you're allowing them to trust you, and you're building that. And that is more important than constantly shifting and trying these new trends or these new I mean, gosh, the trends, like, can we just talk about that for a second? Like, this constantly trying to like change and like do these different things. Like, let them know who you are. Let them get a little bit bored with you. Like, let them trust you. Like, that's totally fine and totally okay. Even though it's hard. I think on the other side.
Moral of the story, you don't need to go viral to be successful.
Exactly. You don't. And really, if you're working your business and you're finding success, awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, we're over here cheering you on for sure.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, whew.
If this episode like struck a chord, maybe it will with one of your real estate friends. Like share it with someone else who maybe was like me, where I was 5 years ago, where I'm like, I need to have 10,000 followers. Share this episode with them. Maybe this will like hit them and meet them right where they're at too, or they're like, just like shifting something in your brain and in your thought process that you don't need 10,000 followers to have a really, really great business.
Yes. I love that. Okay. So until next time, bus bench babes.
Keep your face off a bus bench.
And keep being the badass boss babe that you are. Okay, girls. Are you feeling as inspired as we are? We're over here cheering you on because you just finished another episode of the Girl, Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast.
If you want more, head over to girlgetyourfaceoffabusbench.com for show notes and more episodes. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. They mean the world to us, and they're what keep us going.
Girl, thanks for being here.